Thank you, everyone, so much for taking time out of your busy day. I understand that everyone has a lot to be doing, especially in this IT space with all the threats, all the excitement that happens on a day-to-day basis. I do appreciate you coming out and listening to us. For those of you that have just joined us, we have some housekeeping up there on the screen for you. The application widget's at the bottom of your screen. Very quick, simple, and easy for you to use. If you have any questions, please submit them through the Q&A widget. I will get to them at the end. Just because I can't pull it up on my screen while I'm doing the presentation. Your feedback, though, is very, 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 very valuable. The only way that we can get better is if you give us the true feedback. We love it. It helps us get better. Also gives us those opportunities to give you those answers back. Finally, the recording is being, or the webinar is being recorded. So if you have any questions or you want to listen to it, or you want to share it with friends, family, whatever it might be at your next cocktail party, by all means, please do that. If you have any questions, you can reach out to my team over at webinars@cylance.com. My name is Richard Mellick. I'm the Senior Security Technologist over here at Cylance. I've been with the company for about 2.5 years. It is my job to take you through a journey, a story, make security kind of exciting. And it's a weird place for us to go. So we're going to go in and get started. So this is the Underworld tour. I'm going to start off with one of our favorite quotes of all time. You can get much further with a kind word and a gun than you can with a kind word alone. Al Capone said this back when he was alive, talking about the progress and how he is able to get to the strength and the power that he was able to get to. It's a very powerful quote if you think about it and apply it towards today's day and age, where you have gentle threats. Hey, ransomware comes in, locks up your machine, like please pay $300, whatever it might be. And then you have more malicious malware, ones that will threaten to submit all your files out to the world. Whatever it might be, those are all threats against our personality. That's what Al Capone was talking about as one of the leading criminals of his day. Still a name that is still talked about today. On the complete opposite side of the spectrum, though, there's Willie Sutton. Willie Sutton was part of the Donagher gang. And he was asked in a jailhouse interview, why do you rob banks? Now, for some of us, as we listen to this seems like an obvious answer. Of course, you rob banks because that's where the money is. And that's what he supposedly said. I say supposedly because, the quote kind of gets mixed up over the generations, but it's still a really powerful statement. I rob banks because that's where the money is. Now, if we were to put that into perspective, how does this apply to security? How does this apply to you? Well, your networks are the banks. Your information, your IP, your content that you have spent years building up, protecting. Your company has spent millions of dollars producing. That's the money. Somebody wants it. And somebody's willing to break in and steal it. It doesn't always get released out there. Sometimes they just steal it to steal it. Sometimes they steal it to release it. Whatever their reasoning is, they're trying to rob you of what you have. Our whole idea about this, our concept here at Cylance is we've been asking people, we've been asking organizations, we've been asking IT pros to reconsider their approach. Now, this is one of my favorite stories, Project Gunman. It's about a group that did not reconsider their approach to security, specifically the US government. Now, from 1976 to 1988, these IBM Selectric typewriters, this is the little typewriter that's in the middle, were hacked. And the US Embassy in Moscow, by this little device to the right, which is a little freaking device, it's a little bit bigger than a quarter. And that little device was installed in these typewriters that were installed in the US Embassy in Moscow by Soviet spies. And for those 12 years that this campaign was active, Project Gunman was active, they were able to steal the keystrokes off these typewriters. It would record the bales being struck and send it via signal across the street to a waiting Soviet spy. And they would write it down. They would transcode it. Now, in 1988, when it was finally discovered, they reverse engineered it. And they found that these devices were accurate up to 90%. They were only missing the punctuation and capitalization. Now, we don't know, we being the proverbial US government, don't know how much data they got. But for 12 active years, these typewriters went through upgrades, they went through repairs, they went through replacements. And the only group that was reconsidering their approach were the Soviets, making sure that their little freaking device was getting upgraded, part of the repair process. And nobody thought to think these typewriters are unhackable or are hackable. Nobody thought that that was a possibility. So we here at Cylance are asking you to reconsider your approach to security, reconsider your approach to endpoint security. Because it's not just the Soviet spies that are doing bad things. Now, I'm not going to say the NSA are bad guys or good guys. You know, depends on the side of the pond I guess you're on. But last year, the NSA lost 86 cyber warfare tools. They walked out the front door on a thumb drive because a contractor got in, got past all that physical security, was able to just walk out the front door. Now that's a pretty big deal if you ask me. Now, we started to see a couple of these tools be released out by the group called the Shadow Brokers. They were released out for free in the hopes and the goal of just seeing what the market was like. How viable is this market? Do people want these tools? You know, like any other product release, you have to know if your customers want it. And so around springtime last year, we started to see it on the market. I mean, we being the security industry, we saw it on the market, you know, Bitcoin miners, nothing really massive. And then it got worse. Eternal Blue Double Pulsar specifically, we're starting to see be seen out there. And May it happened last year. And it got big. And I remember that where I was, it was on a plane, and I got a notification that something big was going down across the world. And now, as we sit around and we look back, we think about what that could have been. But at the time, some people wanted to cry. I know that you're all on mute, but I felt the groans of that joke. Yes, it is a bad joke, but this kind of takes it into consideration. How big does your malware have to be until it gets a logo? And here we go. WannaCry has its own logo. I mean, I'm surprised there's not a marketing department behind it. Now, WannaCry hit when it became the biggest news, and it's still the biggest news when it comes to ransomware. It's what people who are not in IT relate back to, because it was talked about all the way down to the front page of local newspapers. USA Today had it on its front cover. They talked about it because of its impact, its growth, the way it impacted the whole world. 300,000 endpoints, 145 countries, all over a couple weeks. Took down the UK NHS, the hospital network. 40 hospitals taken down through WannaCry. That's where we all first started seeing it. If you think about that, that means surgeries canceled, people's records locked up. Life-saving medicine wasn't able to be prescribed because they didn't have the records. They had to start over from scratch with some of these health issues while they were waiting for everything to come back, to be unlocked, the ransoms to be paid. Now, on the flip side of this, the perpetrators of the WannaCry malware were not prepared for their success. 300,000 endpoints nationwide, 145 countries. You would think that they'd be making millions. But for the research, we determined that they only made about $80,000 US. They were not ready for the onslaught of ransoms intended to be paid. They couldn't accept the funds fast enough, and people started giving up. That's pretty impactful. Now, with those perpetrators, they weren't prepared for their success, of course, but what if your organization, or what if the world is going up against somebody that is prepared, that has a full hierarchy established, ready to go for support, for development, everything? What if you were going up a bit against a business, or at least an organization that was run like a business? So the gentleman on the right, I'm going to introduce everyone to Slavik. Slavik is, for all intents and purposes, the CEO of the Business Club. If you're looking for a really fun read, or a little scary, I welcome you to check it out. Brian Krebs has done a lot of research on Slavik. But yes, that is an actual picture of him. There aren't many out there. He is holding a Bengal cat. in his matching onesie. Now, the business club is a Russian organization of about 50 people that's run from a top-down structure, a full format, where Slavik is the boss, and he pushes down the directive, how he's going to build out his team, what his team is going to be doing. He's got developers, he's got customer support, he even has physical property. Now, Slavik is most well known for the Game Over Zeus or Zeus botnet, where he was able to bring in, through microtransactions and theft, $100 million per year while active. Now, a couple years back, the security organizations as a whole came together to shut down that botnet, and in doing so, cutting off a little bit of his funding. Now, as if with any good business, when one product fails, you develop the next. Slavik is credited with the creation of the first crypto locker to diversify his product portfolio. This man and his organization built out what has become a plague on the security world. Everywhere we look, it's crypto lockers and ransomware. Now, he wasn't the first ransomware creator, of course, but he was the first person to make it encrypted. At least that's how it's all pointing back to. Now, he's floating around in the Black Sea on his boat right now with a $4 million bounty out for his head because nobody can touch him. He pays his employees, his 50 employees, so well, nobody will give him up. That's loyalty. And that's a supervillain. That's a man who has changed security as we know it. Now, for those of us all over the world, this is not something that we're really familiar with. But I wanted to put in perspective. It's not just the United States. It's not just Russia. But there are malware campaigns active all over the world. So this is one of my favorite slides because it's talking about the LATAM market. This is specifically looking at Mexico, Brazil, and Argentina. A little bit of Chile is in here. And these are active malware campaigns from 2006 on up to modern days. And it shows you the progress. Gozi Trojan started in 2006. Gozi Trojan is just a little bit like Game Over Zeus, microtransactions and the like, stealing from there. And it's been active since 2006. So we see up from 2006 to 2010, no major campaigns, no major attacks, whatever it might be. In 2012, the perpetrators, creators of the Gozi Trojan, were actually arrested 6 years after the creation. Now, the crazy thing on that, if we look towards 2016, Gozi is still on track to surpass the business club's $100 million per year profit. We have to look at it like a company, have to look at it like a product. We have other campaigns in there. We have El Machete. El Machete popped out in 2014, reappeared in 2017. And then this last year has been pretty aggressive down that market. We have the hacking group in Soba discovered in November of the end of last year. In 2018, in January, we had 3 attacks down in Brazil. Fall Chill. We, of course, did the ATM jackpotting. And one that I'm surprised we haven't seen more of, Trojan. It was just malware specifically designed just to kill your machine. It's maliciousness to be malicious. There's no purpose of it other than to burn out your machine. Now, this is the malware that has been targeting the LATAM market. Now, the perpetrators of that, of course, we've seen it from North Korea. We've seen it from Russia. We've seen some of it coming out from South Africa. And some local, Gozi is local. But it shows you this, not just the Western countries that are being impacted. What is it that we are going up against? You, me, everybody. Well, we're going up against some malware threats that have evolved. Years and years and years ago, the first malware was created. And I always like to joke, what comes first? The malware or the antivirus? Well, we know the answer. The first malware was a worm. It's called the creeper worm. And it was a scientist that decided to see if he could spread a message across his network very simply. Have it automatically populate onto the screen. And he did. He created this little worm that says, I'm the creeper. It would pop up on the screen of all of his network. Well, unfortunately, he didn't know to build in a kill switch. So it would spread and spread and spread and spread. And out of that, they had to develop the first antivirus, which was Reaper. And scientists do as scientists do. They wrote a white paper on it. It's great research, great study. They were able to talk about it, and somebody looked at that and said, hey, I'm going to weaponize that. And we started seeing malware get worse, a little bit worse. In the mid-'80s, we saw somebody finally monetize it. Somebody looks at it, instead of just being malicious, right, putting messages on people's screens, what if we can make some money off of it? So in the mid-'80s, the World Health Organization, AIDS Research Council group got together and started talking and had a little conference, and they released out the mailing list. Somebody got a hold of that mailing list and sent them out floppy disks with what is called the PC AIDS virus on it. And of course, back in the 80s, you receive a floppy disk, you plug it into your machine, and they plugged it in. These recipients of the disk would plug it in, and their screen would get locked out. Their content would get locked out. Not encrypted, just locked. And it would say, please send $189 to the PC Cyborg Foundation in Panama City, Panama, to get your unlock code. Now think about that, mid-'80s, there's no PayPal, there's no Venmo, Google Pay doesn't exist, none of that exists. Those aren't even concepts. So you had to send physical cash, a check, to the PC Cyborg Foundation in Panama City, Panama, in hopes that they're going to send back your code. We're talking 6 weeks you're locked out. And the perpetrator of this malware did get caught and arrested. The money was returned, but it just goes to show the natural evolution. Creation, weaponization, monetization. Well, wait a second. What about commoditization? What if you could take that malware and make some money off of it constantly? What if it was very simple to do? And that's our goal. If you were being malicious, what if you could just create it but not pull the trigger? It removes you from being the bad actor, right? You can't control what people do. And that's what we started to see with as-a-service products coming out. Everything from botnet to DDoS, even ransomware. Ransomware as a service is a very, very big name. And we're starting to see that everywhere for the past 6 years. It's a natural evolution of the threat. And the reason that this is working, the reason that these attacks are working is because of the traditional stack, what we call just the stack. It's these layers upon layers upon layers of different security products that are provided out to you, sold to you on a daily basis as to have working to help protect you from the latest threats. Now, 30 years ago, we had AV, we had the first antivirus. And it worked because there wasn't that many threats. But then the malicious writers started getting better. They started getting stronger. They started getting a little bit more creative. And they said, you know what, let's just bypass that. Let's exploit networking tools. Let's exploit holes in the operating system. So we as the security industry came up with HIPs and anti-exploit tools. A few years later, of course, we had sandboxing. Sandboxing being this idea that, you know what, this malware is going to execute. Let's just let it go play in the sandbox and see what happens. Let's make sure it's good or bad. We're just going to let it execute. It seems a little defeatist, doesn't it? If you allow somebody to do something bad, they're still doing something bad. It doesn't matter if it's in the sandbox or on your local machine. It's still bad. It's still malicious. And about 10 years ago, we saw behavioral analysis come out really big. You had machine learning up in the cloud. Let's take all that data submitted up to behavioral analysis and let's determine if this is doing good things. It's not just sandboxing now. It's not just HIPs and anti-exploit. It's not just AV. You've got 4 processes, and there are so many more. Going over to Black Hat and RSA, it's overwhelming to see the security products and solutions that are out there. But behavioral analysis is kind of a defeatist idea. It relies on you, the user, and your endpoint being connected to the internet at all times. And not just connected to the internet, but connected to the service that provides you that behavioral analysis. Because of course, you're not doing that locally. It takes a lot of resources. And then finally, over the past couple of years, we've seen endpoint detect and response. EDR. It's been touted as the next way to protect your machines, protect your network. See if it's on fire, and we'll help you put it out. You'll understand why it's on fire. You'll understand why it's burning red, blue, purple, green, yellow. You understand why that room caught on fire after that room caught on fire and everything like that. It's all data. It's all response. No, the question I want to pose to each and every single one of you, wouldn't you rather be told why your house is not on fire? Wouldn't you rather have prevented the fire from occurring? Have the data to see how the fire got to your house, but why your house was safe and secure? I'm not going to bash EDR because, of course, we have an EDR tool. It's called Cylance Optics. We're really proud of what it does. But that's how we're approaching this. We're thinking different. Because in the end, the traditional players are asking each and every single one of you to risk being the sacrificial lamb. I don't think any of you want to be the sacrificial lamb. So we've been talking about these a little bit of slide text. Let me change it up a little bit. We talked about the commoditization of malware. I talked about the commoditization of ransomware. What if I was to show you how to do it? True step-by-step instructions of how you could do it. Now, there's a bunch of services out there. Let's quickly go over a couple little notes on this. One, this is live. So if you have any questions, if I'm making any mistakes, you're going to see it live. Two, it is real ransomware. It is real malware. I've got 4 machines running. I've got one that we're going to do all the work on. I've got 2 victims. And finally, one that's protected by Cylance. It's all Windows 7, the various policies and all that, but fully up to date and patched. I make no promises of what's going to pop up on the screens. I make no promises of what won't pop up on the screen, but we're going to do this demo live. Now, every tool I'm going to show you is 100% free. I'm going to tell you how we found the information. I'm going to tell you how you can find the information if you want to test any of this for yourself. Run it against your current PV model, whatever it might be. The hardest part of these demonstrations, the hardest part of finding any of this data is downloading Tor. Now, I've already got Tor booted up right here just because it takes a little bit of time. But we're going to open up Tor, and I'm going to show you a couple different ransomware as a service products. The first one is called DataKeeper. DataKeeper is a very aggressive ransomware as a service product that not just builds new ransomware, but it compiles it into an encrypted file. It's very aggressive straight out of the box. It takes about 10 minutes to build, but what you get is very, very effective against traditional players because it's net new. Now, when you were able to log in, I am logged into the member area here. If you take a screenshot of this URL right here, by the way, and you start typing it in into Google search, you'll find some information on how to access this, where you can sign up for free. You don't even need a credit card information, anything like that. But if you want to share your credit card with me later, I'd definitely be willing to talk to you. Bad joke, right? So come over here. You can see this is our little admin console. We're able to see, how much we want our award to be going out to the creators of DataKeeper. They get a stipend of this. It's an affiliate program. Now I'm going to have the money deposit directed into the DataKeeper ransomware as a service product, or I can have it directed into my Bitcoin wallet. I can have some questions. Here's a CAPTCHA. Of course, you need a CAPTCHA on a ransomware as a service website. Now, if we come over here to get program, this is where it gets a little bit more interesting. Load that up. On the get program side, you can set the extensions that you want to target. Now, think of this. Say you want to target a media company. You want to target a company that's created videos and movies and photos. You could just pick the extensions for those. Or you want to target a law firm and you want to go after a proprietary doc format. Go after that. Or you could do everything like this one. This is just stock. You can pick some settings as you see fit. You come down here, fill in this CAPTCHA. We'll do this right here, 00123, very secure CAPTCHA. We press compile. Now, we're not going to have time to execute this at the end because it does take 10 minutes, and I don't want to take up too much of your time. But you can see the ones that I've created in the past. It takes a little bit. Now, what if you don't want to do that? What if you want 100% of the payout? You don't want to have to deal with the middleman. You're going for gold. You look up Ranion, R-A-N-I-O-N. Now, Ranion was last updated April of this year. What I love about it is for educational purposes only. It says it right there in the disclaimer, middle of your screen. It's already compiled. It's free. Anonymous dashboard. The product's not free. The product is broken up into a pay-to-play kind of situation. Now, while DataKeeper over here is not pay-to-play, you have to pay a little stipend. This one, you pay up front, and then you get access to the community. We see here, we see it a couple different packages. Let's just go down here to the package comparisons. Package 3, 1 month access. You have some features there. It goes up to 12-month access with Elite. And Elite gives you customer support, offline encryption, client management, cloning, gives you a FUD, all this, brand new stubs. It's pretty intense. Tells you how to buy. You're going to have to pay via Bitcoin. Gives you all the information right here. Now, even though the website is looking like it's made by GeoCities, it's been pretty active. They are still updating the product. Now, the reason why I like to talk about Randian is because there used to be another one called Raspberry. You can kind of see the link right there in my toolbar. Raspberry was very similarly built out as Randian, but then it just disappeared. And it's with anything being malicious, be it an affiliate-based program or pay-to-play kind of program. You're putting trust in the perpetrators, trust in the malicious developers to have your best interests in mind. So would you be willing to drop $1,000 to create some ransomware in hopes that, one, it works, two, the website's not going to just disappear? You don't want that. You want to make sure that your money is being used effectively if you're doing this for educational purposes only. So those are two different options. But what if we were to go back? What if we were to go back to the actual first ransomware affiliate program? Ransomware as a service product builder. 6 years ago, a product was released on the market called Atom. Atom was an affiliate program. You didn't need the dark web. You didn't need Tor. You didn't need any special URL. You just went to this main website, downloaded this compiler, this payload builder. And what it would do is it talk to your account. After about 8 months, the website disappeared, but the compiler, the builder, stayed. You can still find this all over the web. You know, if your command and control server is gone and you make ransomware, is it really ransomware? Because if you pay it, if you're victims or educational victims, of course, pay it, they're not going to be able to get their code back. They're never going to get the code to unlock their machine. So this is basically a computer destroyer right now because the effectiveness of the command and control server is gone. And as I said, you can download this for free. Everything I'm showing you is free. You can go to a BitTorrent websites, I think. I don't know what BitTorrents are. It's a newfangled website, I guess. But if you come over here and you type in a random string of letters and codes, because it's not able to verify, and a decryption price, let's not be too greedy. I think Bitcoin's at like 5,500 right now. You pick your extensions, just like DataKeeper. You're able to pick your extensions. I'm going to go after JPEGs. I want to go after media. You know what? I'm going to add PDF into it. Why not? Let's add PDFs. If you want to be really malicious and you just want to see the world burn, you do asterisk asterisk. Get everything. We're not. We're just going to go with JPEG and PDF, and we're going to press build. There it is. We're going to save it to the desktop right now. What is the date? The date is the 20th. So we're going to do 9/20. 9/20. And we're going to go, let's be very simple. I'm not being very creative today. That's okay. Press save it to the desktop. There it is, 920.atom or -atom. I'm going to minimize that. Now, it's that simple. How effective is it? Well, we're going to come over here to this machine. This machine is a Windows 7 machine. There is no AV on it. It is fully patched, though. The reason we have it is to show that it's a victim. Now, as you see, we've got some JPEGs down here. There's a photo. This is my boss's cows. They're eating a pellet. He lives up in Montana. I got some PDFs here on the desktop. My W-4s for U.S. tax forms. Able to access that if I wanted to fill out my taxes. And then a sales contract. We've got channel marketing budget documents, of course. It's all working up. Don't save. What we're going to do is we're going to drag and drop that malware that we just created. Come over here. RMelic, that's me, 920 Atom, drag and drop it straight to the desktop. And we're just going to execute it. Because we want to make sure it works. And there we go. Data on this device has been locked. What's great about this, it tells you where to get the Bitcoin. There's 2.2 Bitcoins. Doesn't matter how much we pay. Now, if we look over here on the desktop, the JPEGs and the PDFs have been locked. You know, just we can do what everybody has thought that they could do. Come back over here, change the extension back to just PDF. Yes, we want to do that. Let's see if it opens. Nope, it will not open. But the channel marketing document, since we didn't target the Excel document, still opens. Now this still works because it's building all the compiler straight onto the machine, this little device. Come back over here. Now let's see what traditional players are saying about it. We're going to open up a website. Let's open up Chrome. Chrome, come on, Chrome. Share it on. It's going to work, I promise. We usually say pray to the live demo gods before we do these. I forgot to do my sacrifice. There we go. Antiscan.me. If you're not using Antiscan.me, it's a free website. It is a legitimate website. It's a good website. But what you can do is you can upload any file over to Antiscan.me and see what it says. We're going to come over here, and we're going to upload 920 Atom, the one that we just created, over to Antiscan.me. And we're going to see what traditional players are saying. Now, the way this website works, MetaDefender, this one, Jotty, the way they work is they'll take the products of traditional-based scanners, signature-based products, and they will put it into this website and then run any file against it. They're going to run it against the latest signatures to see, oop, I have reached my current limit. You know what? We're going to go over to MetaDefender then. We're going to go over to MetaDefender. That's going to give us this. It's another free website scan tool. What this does is it takes it and runs it against the signatures and allows you to see what those signatures are saying about the product. It's going to run it against, I've seen everywhere between 16 and 40 products, and it's all the big players. We're going to come over here. There we go. 22 out of 35 products are saying that this is something malicious. Everything from generic, see if we have any Atoms. There we go. There's Atom right there. Scroll on down. A couple big players saying it's not malicious. They're not catching it with their signatures. So 22 out of, what was it? 22 out of, go back to the overview. 22 out of 35. Now, what if we wanted to make this better? What if we wanted to beat that 22 out of 35? Well, let's do that. Let's do that because we can. These are the exact same steps that entry-level malware writers are going to be doing. Descriptor is this free tool that you can download. Anybody can download it. It is no longer supported by the developers, but it's supported by the community. And you can do these exact same steps. I found these steps on Reddit. Come over here. We're going to select that file path. Now we're going to select the stub. What is a stub? Well, somebody described it to me yesterday. It's the wrapping paper where we're going to wrap around this file. We're going to basically make it look different. Now, the stub that we have there for demo purposes was downloaded from the Descriptor community. Somebody created it for us for free. Not knowing it was us, but we went in there and we said, hey, we're looking for a stub. And someone's like, hey, here's one. So we've been using this for a couple months. Now we're going to make it look like something else, right? You don't want just this little icon right there. No one's going to click on. We come over here, computer. Let's apply an icon to it. Let's make sure my dad double clicks on it because he does. He loves his Internet Explorer. This little error message just says, hey, the icon might break this. We're going to apply an encryption and mutex. Click that as many times as we want. There we go. And the final step is we're going to attribute it. If we come over here and mouse over on 920 Atom, it just says file version date created. It has nothing right there. Now, one little step that people talk about in the IT world is just mouse over, see if it is what it says it is. Just a quick look. So we're going to make it look like Internet Explorer. We're going to enable the version change. That's it. Press save. Click that a couple times and press close. Now press protect. Now, at the same time, I could make this anti-virtual machine and check the default browser, delay the execution. I don't want to do any of that. But these are features I can build into an executable for free. Press protect. Now, I promise that I'm not used for legal purposes. I don't upload to antivirus scanning sites, especially Virus Total, Virus Scan Neutrality. What is this? This is the EULA of a website, of a tool. And what should we name it? You know what? Let's just name it Zeus Atom. And we're going to come over here, save it right to the desktop. There it goes. It's loading up. There it goes. There's Zeus Atom, the new malware that we just created. Now, it's not new malware. It's been repacked. We did not mean to open up Windows Player. 22 out of 35. Let's upload Zeus Atom and see if we can beat it. So that's going to upload. In the meantime, we're going to come over to our other victim machine. Same victim machine, same jokes, same pictures, right? Here's our pictures of the cows. As we just repacked that file, we want to make sure that the file is working. So we're going to come here to malware supplies. Did I upload it? I didn't upload it. Go back here. Upload the malware. There we go. Zeus Atom 3 out of 35. We see here it's being caught by these 3 companies as generic, but then no one knows what it is. So they know it's bad, but they don't know why. But only 3 out of 35 products are catching it. It's pretty quick. That's pretty amazing. So there's Zeus Atom right there on the desktop. Let's just drag and drop. Let's make sure it works. Let's double click. Pray to the light demo gods. It works. So ladies and gentlemen, that is a net new piece of ransomware off a ransomware creator that is over 6 years old. Just bypassed an incredible amount of products out there, traditional based players. So let's go back to this little PowerPoint. So where do we want to take you? It's all a journey, right? The story's been a journey. This is a journey. We want to get you to the next point. We want to get you to rethink your approach to cybersecurity. Now, what if you could use machine learning to prevent the malware from occurring on your machines? And that was the concept that we came up with 6 years ago. We came together and we said, you know what, we can build out prevention-based products. The way to do that is you take a lot of data, 8 petabytes of data, good and bad files, you upload them up to the cloud, and you ask that cloud to determine what a file looks like. Well, tell us what a file looks like. It breaks it down to a mathematical equation. It's looking at it through mathematics and saying, you know what, here's how you would define a file mathematically. Now, we could put all that data down on your endpoint, but instead, let's just focus on the security components. So what makes a file good or bad? What are the attributes? Or, if you recognize in our logo, it has a little DNA helix, as we like to say. If you were to look at the DNA of a file, what would be the cancer? And that's what we're doing. We're looking for the cancer of that file. What's going to make that file bad? What's going to make that file malicious? We're going to give it a score. And so that's where we came up with the AI math model. Little AI math model that gets wrapped up in a pretty little package and deployed out to the endpoints. Now, because nobody has come up with new coding, new languages to write files in, we're able to keep our update cycle around every 6 to 8 months. So that means no signatures, no DAS, no behavioral analysis, no cloud-based lookup, none of that. We're not relying on human classification. We're not putting massive amounts of infrastructure on your location. As a matter of fact, there is no on-prem infrastructure required. The same product that goes on your endpoints goes on your servers. We're not waiting for it to execute. We do pre-execution determination. No signatures, no heuristics, no behavioral analysis, no sandboxing. That's what we're not doing. And some of you might be rolling your eyes and saying, yeah, I don't believe you, but we'll show you in a second. What we are doing is we're relying on artificial intelligence and machine learning to make a determination if that file is good or bad. Let me rephrase that. I apologize. We are relying on the product that was created by artificial intelligence, machine learning, to determine if it's good or bad. And with that, we have minimal updates. We're working on an air gap environment, and we are predicting and preventing malware from occurring. For example, I mentioned WannaCry earlier. Not one Cylance customer was impacted by WannaCry in a negative way. WannaCry would have been prevented 25 months ahead of its release based off our mathematical model. We call it the predictive advantage. And that's what we're working towards. We're working towards ensuring that you are protected against tomorrow's threats. I can talk about it, but let's show it. Come over here. Remember, Zeus Atom, 3 out of 35. We just made it net new. Nobody's ever seen it before. You all were the first to see it. We know it works. We know that it's going to encrypt JPEGs and PDFs. It's going to sit right there, nice and pretty on the desktop. And if I mouse over it, see those attributes? Internet Explorer, built by Microsoft Corporation. We could have changed the file version. We can make it look however we want through free tools. What about Cylance? Pardon me. We're going to come over here. We're going to do the same thing. Now, just to kind of show you, right now we have a fast internet connection. I don't know if that's fast enough for you all. I personally am jealous because my internet only gets up to 16 megabytes per second at my house. But right here on our test machine, we have almost 1,000 megabyte per second connection going outboard. It's pretty good. So we have internet, but what we're going to do is we're going to actually take it offline. Double click on this script. All that's going to do is going to turn it offline, disconnect it from the outside network, still have LAN access internally, so I can get that thing. We're trying to reload fast.com. That's not working. Let's go to cylance.com, see if the new website loads up. I am not seeing anything, so we know we're offline. Go and exit out of there. Still have access to my share drive where I uploaded all that malware. We've got 920 Atom. The first one that we created. We just created that right there. We're going to just take double click and we're going to see what happens. Windows cannot access specified device, path, or file. Now, why? As I said, our artificial intelligence has created a mathematical equation. That mathematical equation was just applied to the file at the kernel level and determined that there are features and traits within that file that make it bad. Simple. That's it. We determined that there were bad features and traits within that file, pre-execution. We did not run it in a sandbox. We did not run it against heuristics. No whitelist, blacklist. We couldn't have. We're offline. We have no internet access. Come over here. Pops up down here in the console. There it is, 920 Atom. Now, we're not telling you what it is. That's a big thing about it. We're not telling the endpoint user that this is ransomware. But you as the IT pro would be able to log into your console, your cloud-based console, and say, hey, there's ransomware. You'd be able to see why we blocked it, all the features and traits that flagged it. Explain to you in simple English. This plus this usually means this. All of this added up makes it look malicious. Now, what about Zeus Atom, the one that just got by a majority of the AVs out there? We're just going to double click on that. Zeus Atom, Windows cannot access specified device, path, or file. Again, we see that pre-execution determination. I have a question coming in. Let's see what the chat says. Did it pop up? It's not popping up for me. So whoever's just asking a question, I'll get to you at the end. I do apologize. Just want the one screen. It's a little bit more difficult for some reason. Promise to get to you. Now, what about older files? What about the other stuff? Curated samples. Some people collect spoons. I collect ransomware. I've got Cerber, Locky, Petya, Satan, WannaCry. There's WannaCry. Just drag and drop that over the desktop. We're just going to put that on the desktop and we're just start double clicking on stuff. Now, if any of you are confident in doing this on your endpoints without Cylance, by all means, tell us what it's like over and over. Now, we're not going to click on the rest. I'm going to let my file watcher, which basically is going to determine that, hey, the machine isn't using a lot of processes. We're going to apply the algorithm to it because it sees that the new files are there. Those files just disappeared. We see it pop up over there on the Protect console. Now, here's the fun part about this. If we come up here to About, we see the Cylance product version 1.2.1320. I said that I don't update every month, every day, every night. We're updating every 6 to 8 months on average. What if I told you that this product hasn't been updated since September of 2015? 3 years ago, this product, this mathematical algorithm was created and deployed out to our customers. And I have not updated my test machine in 3 years. So version 1320, a 3-year-old mathematical model, just stopped malware from last year, the top malware of last year, and stopped malware that we created today. All on a product that is about 42 megabytes on size. Pretty impactful. Go back over here and finish up this presentation. Because in the end, the threats are there. They're trying to get everything. Pirates of the Caribbean was ransomed to Disney. Demands were made. Same with against Netflix and Orange is the New Black. HBO had data stolen. Ballers, Room 104, Game of Thrones scripts. They're trying to get anything and everything they can get their hands on. Remember, the networks are the banks. We here at Cylance want to get you on the pathway to prevention. We start with a compromise assessment. Come on in, see what's going on in your machines, going on with your networks. Make sure everything's good. Hey, you know what? And if everything's great, awesome. You've done a great job. You've picked the right products. You've been lucky. But in the off chance that there's something there, let's get it fixed. Let's get you to a point where you are confident going forward. There's nothing lingering on your network that will hurt you, that will take you down, that will put you in a compromising position. We'll remediate any threats that are in there. We'll come in there, we'll help clean it up, be it ransomware, be it data stealers, data miners, whatever it might be. And of course, then we get to the prevention base. We have Cylance Protect with Threat Zero Prevention Insurance. We just showed that off on the Protect side, Threat Zero Prevention Insurance. That's where we can come and help you manage it if needed. Now, because we are not perfect, nobody is, 99.7% efficacy. And also there are areas within your network that aren't protected by Cylance, be it your firewall, be it your email, whatever it might be. If something was to get past your other layers of security, wouldn't you want to know why? Cylance Optics provides you that threat hunting capability based on artificial intelligence. It's an artificial intelligence EDR solution, endpoint detect and response. Remember I talked about it a little bit earlier. We'll tell you why your house did not catch on fire, why it was prevented by Cylance Protect. We'll tell you how it got there so you can remediate where needed. We have monitoring services, and finally we have home products. We have actually two home products. We have Cylance Protect for home, where you as the IT manager can ensure that your employees have protection on their home machines, as well as Smart AV, which is our new home-based product that anybody can pick up today. All based off the same artificial intelligence and mathematical model in Cylance Protect in our enterprise clients. In the end, we don't want you to be famous. Nobody wants to be on this slide. Now, HBO, United Airlines, Equifax, Uber, Anthem, Netflix, Office of Personal Management, it's pretty impactful. Those are pretty impactful hacks. You know, I'm a customer of every single one of those 7 products. OPM does all the background checks for the US military. I highlight them because Cylance was the company that came in and fixed that data breach. We weren't the product that was in play, but we were the ones that were brought in to get them to a state of prevention and clean enterprise, a trusted network. Now, of course, you might have noticed I didn't mention the Redflex one. This is just a fun story in general. In Australia, our Redflex is used as the traffic cameras, red light cameras, you know, the works, speed cameras. And last year, Redflex was taken down by WannaCry. 2/4 of tickets were wiped from the system. Nobody was mad about that. Not one person was enraged except for maybe some shareholders. But honestly, if the WannaCry deliverers are going to go after anybody, please, I've got some parking tickets they could definitely erase. Now, of course, we don't want that. It's just a joke. We want everyone to be in a state of prevention. So in the end, we want you to test it for yourself. Know the truth. Go to cylance.com/TFY. If you have any questions right there, this is going to give you the same demo environment that I just did. You can request it through a POC as well. We'll walk you through it. If you have your own testing methodology, please use it. Test us against your current model. Test us against some malware. An independent website, testmyav.com. Well, semi-independent. I say that because testmyav.com recommends us based off the fact that we passed their test. It is run by a gentleman named Carl Gottlieb out of the UK. Testmyav.com can provide you different malware samples, different methods to test your AV. Now, as I said before, those of you that joined in a little bit late, we're going to push out the polling. I'm going to push this out right now. If you have any questions, anything like that, there's the survey results. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to stop sharing. Stop share. There we go. I'm going to answer some questions. I'm going to answer some questions right here. We had the chat pop up. Where is it? Yes, Jorge, the webinar is being recorded. Is that it? Are there any other questions? Anybody wants to throw it up there in the chat? Definitely answer during the QA. If not, we'll finish up here in a quick second. Does this work for, okay, Jorge, I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Does this work for ransomware files open through Outlook? Just wondering how a PDF preview within Outlook would work or execute. That's a great, solid question. Yes, because it still has to pass through the kernel level. Cylance Protect is sitting down there at the kernel. So if you were to double click on anything, even through preview, it still has to be popped up. Now, if you're just doing preview mode through Outlook, it can probably be run by a script. Now, Cylance Protect has script control built in where, where the script will be analyzed and determine if it's good or bad. We've got some other examples of that on some demos. If you go through a POC or anything like that, I recommend testing it out. It's a lot of fun to see how our script control works. Mark Pick, what about Mac OS? It's becoming a bigger target. Great question. We protect. Let's go through this. Ready? Windows XP, Service Pack 3 on up. Windows 2003, Service Pack 2 on up. Mac OS X Maverick on up. Linux, Red Hat, CentOS, and Ubuntu. Those 3 flavors are out there. I hope that answers your question, Mark. Howard, great question. You mentioned server protection. Does this work in AWS through their marketplace? You know what? That's a great question. You're the first person to ask me that. I don't have an SE with me, but you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to follow up. I'm going to make sure that I get your information and send that over to you. I should text somebody real quick on that. See what we have. Any other questions? Is the Mac? Yes. So Mark asked, is the Mac OS product protected the same way pre-execution? Yes. Our product protects everything in a pre-execution standard. We're not looking to allow anything to execute and then make a determination. That is not the foundation of our product. That's not how we work. So we are pre-execution on all machines. Any other questions? I'm losing a few of you. Awesome. If you do have any other questions, don't be afraid to reach out to me. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'm Richard Melick, M-E-L-I-C-K. You're more than welcome to reach out to me if any questions, or reach out to your sales rep. We'll be sending you a follow-up email. We're going to give you a link to this webinar. We want to play it off again. Take it over to your next dinner party. I'm sure your guests would really appreciate it. Or take lessons learned of malware creation and run with it. Test it on your endpoint. Test it against your product. I thank everybody so much for coming out for this time. 55 minutes is pretty good for one person speaking. I know that can get a drone. So thank you so much. I hope everyone has a fantastic day.